The Evergreen Media Network Studio, powered by Scott Tree Services.
Hey, and good morning. Welcome to another episode of Uplifting the Uplifters, where every single month we bring you a new uplifter. And today is no different. I am very proud to introduce my friend and your County Commissioner, Laura Moss. Welcome to the show today, Commissioner Moss.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yes, ma'am. And we could not have this show if it wasn't for the generosity of our amazing donors. So we brought back Adam Ogilvie, owner of ORC Services, and your realtor here, Pedro Burnaby from Dale Sorensen. Welcome back, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course. Keep writing checks, bud.
Will do.
Pedro, how you been?
It's been good.
Selling any houses?
Busy.
Good.
Yeah.
Adam?
Oh, yeah. Been busy, walking the walk of the halls, trying to talk to our politicians about the insurance crisis that we're all dealing with, these high premiums on all of our houses. That's just not fair.
So you just went on a little field trip. You want to briefly tell us about your field trip?
Oh, yeah. So I went on a field trip to go to the Good Government Luncheon meeting in Orlando to meet all my fellow Florida home builders and all the representatives that are out there representing all of our Republican Party and all our Floridians on what they do with the home building industry.
That's awesome.
It came out great. I made a lot of good connections, and I think everybody is very concerned about the insurance issues, and I look forward to talking to all of them about how to present what's going on and what I think we should do to fix it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So before we get to our guest today, once again, for all your commercial and residential needs, contact my favorite realtor, sorry, Cody at home, Pedro Burnaby from Dale Sorensen. And for all your remodel needs, no matter what that natural disaster, fire, flood, death, all that stuff, Adam does it at ORC Services. How you specialize in it all? Commissioner Moss, now, I know you have a district, but you're everywhere, Commissioner Moss, and I'll let you tell what district and all that good stuff. But literally, whether it's Thanksgiving Day, passing out hundreds of meals, Christmas Day, for years and years, Commissioner Moss, you have been out there in the community. So I just want to say thank you from Team Success. You know, a lot of times people get in office, then you never see them. You, on the other hand, we see you everywhere. You know, there's a show horse and a workhorse, Commissioner Moss. You're a workhorse, my friend. Commissioner Moss, tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you. And by the way, I appreciate the generosity of Team Success in terms of the community and all the events that you sponsor and all the good works that you do. That being said, yes, you're quite correct. I am not what I call a jack-in-the-box candidate. You pop out, when you're running for office and then close the box again. Now, I see government as a partnership with the people, and I always did. And by the way, for those, I know speaking of home building, Adam, I know a lot of people are new to our community. I was amazed because on 4th of July, I was in the 4th of July parade in Sebastian, and then I spent the rest of the day in Riverview Park. And literally every single person who came over to speak to me had just moved here within the last few years, and somewhat sheepishly said to me, well, it's time to, close the gate, slow it down a bit. Everyone's concerned about overdevelopment. But for those who have moved here more recently, my name is Laura Moss. I serve on County Commission. I started in politics, or governmental service, as I prefer to call it, in 2016, when I became the first woman in the history of the city of Vero Beach to start her city council career as mayor. So I loved it. That was absolutely magical, in my opinion. I served 2 terms on city council. Those are 2-year terms. And by the way, that's true for those who are new to the county. There are 3 cities, Sebastian, Fellsmere, and Vero Beach, and each of the cities has a city council with 2-year terms. So I served 4 years on Vero Beach City Council. And then in 2020, in spite of the pandemic and all the issues we had that year, which were huge, as you may recall, I was elected to County Commission, which is a 4-year term. And I get a lot of questions. I'm going to take a minute to speak, not about myself, but about this is a big election year. We all know that November is a huge consideration for many people. However, please remember this: people who are new to the community, the local elections are decided in August. They're not decided in November, and by that I mean not just mine, not about me. County commission, school board, and the sheriff's race will all be decided in August, and that's August 20th is election day. Early voting is from August 10th to August 17th. You don't have to memorize all this as I'm speaking. Don't worry. I know some of you, maybe just had your first cup of coffee. So you can go to voteindianriver.gov, voteindianriver.gov for this. But to get back to county commission, there are 5 members of county commission. As I said, it's a 4-year term, so it's staggered. This year we have 3 seats. That's District 1, 3, and 5. And then in 2 years from now, it would be the other 2 seats. That's District 2 and 4. Let me talk about districts for a moment. It doesn't matter what district you live in. This is for people who have arrived recently, and also people who live here. Admittedly, I think it's easy to be confused about this. You vote. Any voter votes for all county commission races. Okay, and it doesn't matter where you live. The matter is where we live, because the idea is you don't want 5 county commissioners all living in Fellsmere. And I love Fellsmere, so especially the fried chicken at Marsh Landing Restaurant.
It's a good place.
Thank you, Susan Adams.
Susan.
She has all kinds of exotic things, gators and frog's legs and all kinds of things, but I love that fried chicken. Anyway, you don't want everybody, all the commissioners, to live in one town for obvious reasons, or just a single city. So they choose us from different districts around the county. That being said, remember, it doesn't matter where you live, you vote for everybody. Okay, so the races that are up, Susan Adams in District 1, Joe Ehrman in District 3, these are the incumbents, and there are many other candidates. I'm going to speak about that too, where you can get the information on all the candidates. And I'm District 5. All right, now we got that, right?
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have to live around the county. You don't. You vote for all of us. There's a little wrinkle, for lack of a better term, in my race, which is District 5. I know people just are interested, well, where is it? Where are the different districts? District 5 is basically the beach, okay, the beachland area. It's either side of US 1, as far north as 510 and as far south as the county line. And I'm explaining this in very global terms, but there is a map where you can look this up if you want to know where each of the districts are geographically. I love maps. I always have since I was a kid. And that is on the county website. I'll give you one more website. It's easy to remember, indianriver.gov. Indianriver.gov. So you can go there. That website, by the way, has been totally revamped. So even if you just want a trail to hike or a park to go to, you just want to relax, because, it's stressful for everybody during a big election year like this. And with all the things that have gone on recently, just want to relax. It's a great source of information. But getting back to my race, now remember, I just told you, all of you are voting at all the races, except mine. District 5 has a write-in candidate. And so what is a write-in candidate? A write-in candidate, this is actually a loophole in the law, but I'll tell you first what's happening in District 5, because this is only Republicans can vote in the District 5 race. That's it.
No Dems, huh?
Only Republicans, no Democrats, no independents. And for those who are new to the county, we're about 50-50, Republicans being half of the county, and then Democrats and independents being the other half. And by the way, here's another thing, because I just love looking at I love bar charts. I don't like, thousands of numbers, but bar charts are cool. And Leslie Swan, who's a supervisor of elections, has all kinds of information on voteindianriver.gov. So I just looked this up last night. It goes back to 1950, which is fascinating, to today. And, the South, the Southern Democrats and Southern Baptists, and, this is historically now we're talking about. But it was in 1982 in this county was the year where there were more Republicans than Democrats. And that's starting from 1950. So from 1950 to 1982, there were more Democrats. And then after 1982, so I'm thinking, well, that was the time of Ronald Reagan. So I'm just, this is just conjecture. I don't, but the bar charts are really interesting. All this information is there. So only Republicans can vote. And I've had people say, and this is a misconception, so thank you for the opportunity to dispel it, but say, well, it's a Republican primary, so only Republicans should be able to vote anyway. That's not what happened. That's not the way. We don't need a defender of the faith because everyone voted on it. There was a statewide state constitutional amendment in 1998 where it was overwhelmingly approved by the voters of this state that if you have only one party running, in this case, say it's Republican, one party running, everyone can vote. All parties, meaning Democrats, independents, and Republicans can vote. So that was approved statewide in 1998. That was a state constitutional amendment. So that's something for all of us to keep in mind. And that's, I think, a credit to the people of the state that they wanted that they wanted everyone to be represented. And remember, we live in a great country, but that wasn't always the case. I mean, women have had the right to vote only a little over 100 years now. And actually, blacks in America, I looked that up too, they got the right to vote around 1870. So, I mean, it hasn't always been the case from day one, from Independence Day, that everyone's voted. So it's, we've worked very hard to be inclusive. And this write-in thing, which is a loophole, and I'll get to that in a minute, because you did have this statewide state constitutional amendment that was passed overwhelmingly. The write-in is a loophole in that law. It was a judicial interpretation. And you know what happens if you get that kind of thing. It's like, you vote for one thing and then it becomes something else. It's like, well, wait a minute. I voted for this. And it's a shame that happens, but it's a loophole. So what is a write-in? A write-in is anybody, the requirements to run for office, what I did was you can qualify by petition, which is about 12, I'll round it off. It's about 1,200 petitions, and that's signed by registered voters saying that they would like to see you on the ballot. Can be, it doesn't matter what party, just registered voters, 1,200, or you pay $4,400. And yes, that's just to be on the ballot. So, I qualify by petition. The write-in in my race and in any race does not have to follow that protocol. There's no requirement to get petitions, to spend any money. The write-in my case doesn't even live in District 5.
That's crazy.
You can run for it's legal. And a lot of it doesn't make any sense. Or in fact, none of it makes any sense. But this is what it is. So just, so everybody understands. And the effect is, in my opinion, chilling. And, I would, and draconian. I mean, to close out tens of thousands of people from voting. But this has gone on, and I read of a case in another county, Martin County, where this tactic has been used for almost 20 years now. So you've had only one party, and it is a county commissioner, only one party has voted for about 20 years. And I just think that's wrong when you have only half of the population voting. And but there have been articles written about this. And by the way, I don't think this is right. And a number of people are filing with the State Ethics Commission. You can file a complaint, and it's only one page. I've looked that up. I put it on my Facebook page. One page to file a complaint. I'll be doing that. I know a number of other people have already done this. And it's unfortunate, but it's possible. In this article, there were actually two articles were very good, were written about this. Ray McNulty wrote an article. He interviewed this, Keith Ridings is his name, the write-in candidate, and Ray McNulty interviewed him. So he's Ray McNulty, for those who don't know, is a writer for 32963, Bureau News, and that's on the internet. You can look up the article. He interviewed him, and he said he's not a real candidate. That's what he said. I mean, he's quoted as saying that. So that's, certainly an ethical concern. If you put your name in and you yourself are saying you're not a real candidate. The other article, and there was a whole interview with him. I won't go into it now with limited time. The other article was written by Larry Reisman, T.C. Palm, and he had written an article back in 2016 about a company, marketing, or a strategic company, I should say, political strategies. Frontline is the name of the company. They're based in Tallahassee. And the 2016 article that he wrote was that of the 8 closed primaries that year, Frontline had been involved with 6 out of 8. So I thought, well, that's interesting. It was historical. And then more recently, my opponent, guess who's on our expenditure list?
Frontline.
Yes. And so of course that makes
Point
you
to Mike.
it makes you wonder. It does. It just makes one wonder. I can't. This is something the State Ethics Commission will have to investigate. I can't say this is what I read, so anybody can read it. That's Larry Reisman's article, and I just advise people to stay informed about this. It is complicated. I'm sorry to say, only Republicans can vote in the race, because that was not the intent of the entire state of Florida. The entire state of Florida, as I mentioned earlier, back in 1998, overwhelmingly was in favor of all parties voting in a single party race, which is what mine is. So, where can you get information? There are a number of different places where you can get information about, not just about this particular incident. I've already mentioned the 2 articles, and you don't have to memorize it. You can always contact me. All right, let me say that. My email address is it's just my name, basically, lmoss, M-O-S-S, at indianriver.gov. So you can always contact me, and you can go to the website, indianriver.gov. You'll see our little faces there, all 5 of us, and you can send us emails and call us.
Well, I think
and
it's a
we'd
lot
love
easier
to be
than
in
that.
contact.
Definitely a lot easier than that to contact you, because you're everywhere.
Yes, or just speak to me.
The
They just
People's
talk to
Commissioner.
you directly to you. You're at almost every event, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a shame to hear about this writing candidate and everything's going on, but you do a wonderful job, and I appreciate you being our county commissioner.
Yes, definitely. Just 2 things I want to point out. One, it sounds like we need to change the law. I mean, it's almost 30 years, so it sounds like that the ethics stuff is great and very needed, but it sounds like the law needs to change. The other thing, angle I wanted to, because I read a lot of these articles about ghost candidates, so on and so forth, and it's also illegal if it comes back that one of the candidates put that individual in the race.
Yes.
So, we saw what was going on in St. Lucie, and that was sad to see that. But that's another piece of this, because someone just doesn't wake up one day and say, Commissioner Moss, I think I'm going to run against her. I have a chance. I don't even live here. And I think that's what's the sad part, because not just the fact that it could happen, but a person doesn't even have to live in that district. So they get to, a loophole is a nice way of putting it, but they don't have to live here. And I believe in that article, the kid even says, well, yeah, I don't even live there, and I know I have no chance. So why are you running? Independents and Democrats have no voice in this particular election. With yours, sheriff's office race, and not many Democrats and independents switched to Republican. Yeah. So it sounds like it will be a Republican race in yours and the sheriff's office. So thank you for shedding some light, Commissioner Moss. Before we get back to these amazing gentlemen here, is there anything else you want to tell the viewers about you, Commissioner Moss? I mean, everyone knows you. If you don't know Commissioner Moss, you had to just move here yesterday, but
but you're right. Thank you for saying that. I look at government as a partnership with the people. That's how I do it, and I don't expect people to come to me at a formal meeting or make an appointment. I try to be out there all the time, and this is since 2016, since I started as mayor, because I believe in being accessible, that people can just, at any event, in an informal way, speak to you about their concerns, their wishes, what they see for the future of the county. I like to hear what people have to say. There's nothing that replaces firsthand information. And this is with all due respect to staff. There's always an agenda. Everybody's a politician, even if it's just office politics. So I like to get firsthand information, face to face. It's always my first choice.
Sure.
Face to face.
So right now in this race, if someone said beside your email, is there another way someone can contact you if they wanted you to come speak at their church or just had questions about, I don't know, Lagoon? How else? You have a secretary at the county commissioner office that they can call as well.
Yes, absolutely. And the phone number is, again, it's easy to remember a phone number than a website, a website than a phone number. So that's indianriver.gov. Go to that website. All the contact information is there.
Awesome. And then just a quick fun fact, and well, actually, it can be very quick. When I got my first time to sit down with Commissioner Moss, it was during my activism days, and she was at the city of Vero. And I tell you what, if she would make an appointment and speak to me, Commissioner Moss will talk to anybody. And this was many moons ago, and I am delivering a little reform nowadays. But Commissioner Moss, thank you so much for all you do for this community. And once again, our County Commissioner, Laura Moss, District 5. And guys, what did you think about today?
I think it's great. I have first-hand experience without knowing her many years ago, just going up to her and asking her questions. And I'm like, I think it was Martin Luther King parade, and you were there by yourself with your banner running. And I'm like, so may I ask? Yeah, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? So we started talking. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, she's the real deal. And from there on, I was sold on it. So.
Yeah, I think she's amazing. Anytime I had a concern about our county, or I needed to talk to her about maybe connecting me to another representative, some bigger concerns like insurance that I always talk about. It's like Adam doesn't talk about much, but when he does, it's insurance. And that's my number one thing that's always on my mind. And come July 31st, there's going to be a town hall at the Treasure Coast Builders Association to talk about insurance. So I invite everybody to come join me. And if you want to find out, just call my office and ask for Adam. And I'd love to talk to you about insurance.
And what's the number to call Oric for all your remodeling needs?
772-589-8026.
All right, Pedro, if you want to sell a home, buy a home, and all that good stuff.
I want to say one quick thing before
Hurry up, Pedro.
I have not seen insurance going out so high. Every time I'm selling a home, there's one person right now that paid like $8,000 for the year. So this thing that Adam is doing is definitely very important. So please attend if you can.
Awesome. And how can they call you, Pedro?
772-494-3226.
Awesome. And as always, it's I am, you are, we are. It's team success. Today's edition, talking with my good friend, Commissioner Laura Moss. Thank you, Commissioner Moss.
Thank you.
Pedro, Adam, thank you once again.